What's up, everybody? Tree City West here with another episode of TreeRoot.City Live. Today we're streaming from the Pump Fun, and I just hit the stream button over on YouTube and X. So, as always, let's make sure we're streaming before we get things going. But man, something crazy's happening. There's a massive pump on Root, pumped all the way up to 100K. And I have no idea why, and I love it. And I just hit the stream button over on YouTube and X. Awesome. So, as always, let's make sure we're streaming. Cool, that sounds good. Let me grab the link. Head over to x.com. And we'll get this thing going. As always, our red dot. Stream is live. Root explodes. Solana Seeker season. MATTLE.FUN streaming. New season and more. Beautiful. Awesome. All right, so we'll send that out, and then let's go take a look at these charts, figure out what the hell is going on with Root. Love to see it. And we'll get this thing going. Oh, I hear myself. Cool. Beautiful. All right, let me get the tweet into the Telegram real quick, and then we'll get started. It's crazy in the Telegram. It's just buy after buy. Stream is live. Sweet. All right. And then one more for the FUD room. If Chuck's out there, I know he'd appreciate that. Zen has its own FUD room. Love to see it. But, all right, so let's go ahead and get started. I definitely want to check out this Root. Like, boom. That's amazing. So let's zoom out here. We'll take a look at the daily, and you can see all of our drawings here. And, you know, we've been talking about the 21. We don't even have the 21 on the daily yet. We haven't had enough candles. I'm sorry, the 200. But we've just been kind of getting flushed out. And then all of a sudden today, there's just this crazy wallet going in. And it looks like it's a couple different ones, but not really sure what to expect. Big sales, big buys. Are we getting pump and dumped? I don't I don't fucking know. I love it because, you know, we've been here since the bottom. We've been streaming this whole time. So let's zoom in. Let's take a look at the 4 hour. And I mean, we went from a 20K market cap to a 94K market cap in the matter of 8 hours, 2 4-hour candles. And this is still going. It's amazing. Shout out to you guys. Shout out to whoever's doing this. I have no idea what's happening. I do follow Elon, you know, the founder of Pump Fun, and I have notifications on, and anytime he tweets, I shout out Root and I shout out GPT-69. So I don't know if this is part of that, but this is pretty awesome. Shout out to the 7 watchers over on Pump. We're also live on YouTube and X right now. Excuse me. What the hell? God candle 3x today. I know, right? It was actually more than that. So it went from 19 up to 94 market cap. Currently sitting at 55. And you can really see the pattern of what's happening here. So this is pretty typical of pumps. You get the first big pump, and then you get the redistribution of the tokens, and you get a pump. Then people see the pump, and you get the redistribution of the tokens, and then hopefully it continues. Now, usually what happens with these is they kind of form a massive like head and shoulders. I'm not trying to like FUD my own project or anything. That's just usually what happens with these big pumps. And that's kind of what happened back here, where usually near the top you get that massive head and shoulders. And that's when, you know, that's usually a top indicator. But this is on the 15-minute, and we can even zoom in. I mean, this volatility, so now you're getting these long under candles, you know, the candle wicks to the bottom coming down to the 200. So the 200's coming up on the 5-minute, and it's just natural. That looks so amazing. So these are all the root holders selling, and then, you know, whoever's doing this gets back in, then more root, you know, sellers hold. But this is the staggering. There's $166,000 of volume on a 56k market cap coin. That's amazing. Like that's so much. So definitely a wild ride for Root today. You know, the LP pools are printing, so we're currently paired with Fire Chicken and CryptoBruz project Zend. Zend is doing its thing. It's up 15% today. Fire Chicken's up about 1% today. So things are looking beautiful. I love to see it. Yeah, I mean, we're maintaining that uptrend. We haven't made a lower low yet, so hopefully we just continue to kind of skip like this and just do that. I guess this would be a lower low, but you know, I'm talking on the, this is bullish. It's beautiful to see. It's hard to imagine that volume will maintain, but yeah, you can see these. There's some pretty big wallets coming in here. 7.43%. No idea. I don't know what's happening. I'm not kidding. I haven't seen anything really over on the Twitter. There's no like tweets or communication from anyone. Like, let's go take a look real quick. I just said Zending. Yeah, we're not even getting any. Got a couple new followers, but we're not really getting any interaction here. That's funny. That just looks so wild, though. I love to see it. Zen world buzzing with life. For sure. For sure, for sure. So, that's the story with Root. You know, we're going to keep on maintaining. I'm not going anywhere. You know, even if this big buyer comes in and rugs their entire, you know, we come all the way back down to 15K, that's fine. You know, we're still going to be streaming here every day. We're going to be doing things with the Root Guardian. I've been working on the Discord. So there's a Discord where if you have a Root Guardian, you'll have access to certain private chats, you know, kind of like a Root Guardian or almost like a whale chat, but it's just for holders of the NFT. So that should be pretty fun. We can set up different roles for different holders. So if you have like if you have a certain token or a certain amount of NFTs, we can give you different roles in the Discord. So we're starting to roll that out. That's going to be fun. But right now we just have our single channel over on Telegram. You can get there from the website TreeRoot.City. But yeah, we'll be doing our thing. I mean, look at this, 1,000 buys to 800 sells, 87K buy volume, 79K sell volume. What? Who's doing that? That's amazing. That is amazing. Then shout out to CryptoBro. We got Zend. And in the last stream, we were talking about how it kind of fell through the 200 EMA here. But it's awesome to see this pump. And I imagine, you know, this is part of the bots. So when Root falls 38% like it is now, the bots come back and start buying up all the Zend. So like this dump was probably the Root pump, you know, based on our LP pool, but then, you know, then the pump reverses and now the LP pool is pumping it back up. So it's really amazing. You know, it's cool to see these coins kind of hanging around in the same market cap. So Root's at 54K now. Zen's been just pumping, absolutely awesome. Really since, when was this? end of August, last day of August. It's really taken off since then. So all the way up to 45K market cap. It's beautiful to see. Unfortunately, KJP is suffering pretty bad. You know, where did everybody go? It was funny. I put a meme in the chat and there's just like no response. It's like it was the Uncle Phil Fresh, or no, it was Will, you know, the Will Fresh Prince where he's like alone in the living room in the last episode. That's kind of what the KJP chat feels like now. So that is what it is. Trench Kitty, you know, definitely falling out of the pattern there. We saw that last episode. Fire Chicken doing its thing. I mean, this is what I want Root to do, and that's kind of what it's looking like now. That's so amazing. I don't know if we're gonna get all the way up to a $220,000 market cap. And $220,000 market cap would be nice, but you know, I'm happy with our pump up to 90 and pull back to 50. That's pretty amazing. I don't know what happened there. It's a beautiful thing. So you can see when it's bullish, you know, you start skipping along that 200 EMA, and then right near the top you fall through it, and then you test it, and then you test it, and then you test it. Eventually you'll be able to get back above it and start pumping again. And this should be a beautiful thing. It was a big buy. So nice things happening here for Root. And the others are just kind of doing their thing. Let's go check out TradingView. I'm not sure. Actually, let's pull up Crypto Bubbles. Oops. How are the bubs doing today? Ket. Oh, we're in the 400 to 500. I'm like, why is this in the... Let's go and check out the top 100. You know, the big guys. Aster, man. It's still going. You fucked up if you thought it was $1 and you missed the trade. You know, you could have put $1,000 in there and had 2,000. It's 100. It's up 100%. It's crazy. I mean, when it got listed, it was at 50 cents, and it's 4x since then. Since in 4 days. Like, this is not a long time period. This is a week. So this is the decentralized perpetual DEX through Binance. So I guess it's like a Binance incubated project. And since CZ isn't allowed to work on Binance as part of his lawsuit, now he's working with Aster, and he's kind of plugging this Aster thing. So CZ is kind of a slippery guy, and he's always going to find his way. What is this? This is new. OG? Zero G? What are these guys? Is this another perp dex? Launched yesterday. $1.1 billion market cap. Excuse me. What is the OG Foundation? Is it 0G? We're leading the way to make AI a public good. That sounds awesome, but why do you need crypto to do that? Oh, the OG... The OG Foundation is the steward of decentralized AI as a public good. It's interesting. I mean, I'm curious, you know, what they... Like the NFT standard, ELIZA OS white paper contributions, targeting 100k TPS per shard, ambitious roadmap. What is this? Who did this? This is an AI website. Interesting. Never heard of this one. It kind of caught my eye. Currently, what's their current rank? Probably right in front of my face. I just can't see it. Number 109. It's cool. So this is the thing about alt season that they don't tell you. Alt season isn't about like your 2 and 3 year old coins from 2021 pumping. You know, this is about these new projects and these new ideas coming in You know, alt season isn't about Polygon and AVAX and Tron. It's about Aster and this weird OG and, you know, these newer coins, the Hyperliquid, you know, Solana. You know, Solana's finally having its time. You know, Mantle, that's another one. And then you also have the coins that the chains need to run. You know, the Pyth, which is a decentralized oracle. Same with Link, you know, Chainlink. That's another big one. So it's exciting to see. You know, a lot of people are saying, when are we going to hit altcoins? But we just had a decentralized DEX blow up to $3 billion market cap in like a week. Like, that's the definition of alt season. You know, if we go to the alt season index, I mean, look at that. We got all the way to officially an alt season at a level of 80, and then we fell back down with that recent dump, and now we're pumping back up. So anytime 75% of the tokens are outperforming Bitcoin, we're in alt season. Right now we're at that. So you can see Bitcoin's all the way down here. It's up 3% in the last 90 days. Meanwhile, you have IP, Mantle, Crow, AVAX, Ethereum, Chainlink, you know, all these new ones coming in here, you know, and it's pretty amazing to see. Look at Pi down 52%, Aptos down 13%. That's one you don't hear about anymore, Aptos. Yeah, they're kind of a bear market tragedy. But yeah, that's pretty cool. So let's take a look at the top 200. Anything? Yeah, Bard coming up. That sounds like an AI project. 300 Grass. You guys remember Grass? We were doing our Grass airdrops. I actually got like it's like a $200 airdrop from them. I sold it day one. I think I sold it right around $1 too. So currently sitting at 83 cents. See Kita there. Kita's another newer one, but they might have already had their time, honestly. Trying to get this back massager in the right position. Oh, that feels so good. Pump tool, click my name. The German XRP community is crazy. What's up, Nas Minio? Get out of here, pump tool. Beautiful. Sorry, just checking the comments and stuff over on Pump. That's one thing I'd love to see Pump, is be able to get the comments into Restream. That'd be nuts. 0G, Ket. AVAX is pumping. Yeah, I saw that. Anthony Scaramucci mentioned it. I looked at that this morning. AVAX. That one did catch my eye. Last week it was like $20 and I was talking about buying it down here. And we did, and then it hit the stop loss, unfortunately. So I don't have any Avalanche right now. I might have a couple. You know, I do have my Arena account, and you know, a little bit over there. Probably like 1.5 or 2 AVAX or something small. You know, but yeah, AVAX is a good one. They're kind of like they're a good candidate for like a business chain. Like if a company is looking for someone to make like a stable coin or some decentralized blockchain, you know, a private chain that they can run their business on. That's really where AVAX, you know, can excel. Don't hear about Sweet too much in the last couple weeks. Starting to get a bit tight in this little triangle. This is on the daily too. It's fighting that 200 on the daily. It's holding on, but man, I might have to set a stop loss there. Set it for like 325. Then if it falls through. Litecoin. My stop loss did get hit on XRP. So I am actually out of my XRP position. And I was thinking about buying some Aster with that. Damn, I hit the wrong button. Are we still streaming? All right, cool. Oh, not this fucking without rugs guy. Awesome. Like I mentioned, Chainlink, you know, that's another one, very bullish project. Crypto infrastructure, you know, if you're going to build a project on Chainlink, on any network, and you need a live data feed, chances are Chainlink's going to be on that chain. Bonk, I was pretty bullish on Bonk, but now like the only Bonk I'm getting down with is the character on MATTLE.FUN, to be honest. Look at Ethereum though, sheesh. That's pretty nice. Like if you're looking, this is like a nice DCA for Ethereum right here. If you're feeling confident in the market, I'm not saying go all in on ETH right here, but if you think ETH is going to go back to 5K, you know, make new all-time highs and do its thing, this would be you have tons of support here. So not only do you have like, it was resistance back here, but then it turned it into support and it's just bouncing here. So that's pretty bullish look for ETH if it holds this 4,000 level. If it falls under 4,000, it's not going to be good. Solana's looking pretty bearish right now, but I mean, yeah, it could just do one of those. Get out of here, little dot. That's what we drew yesterday. See, it came down. Now it's kind of stutter stepping. And that, just like that pattern we talked about at the beginning of the show, the head and shoulders, this is the reverse of that. So this is the reverse head and shoulders, where you have shoulder, head, shoulder. Let me draw this a little better. So we got one low here, and we make the deep cut, the big low, and then we have another shoulder here. We haven't broken this neckline, and usually it's, you know, a measurement like that. So it's pretty bullish on Solana, as long as same with this, as long as it holds that 215 level, you know, that 200 to 215 level, it's like nothing happened. I mean, it's just a nice healthy retrace. If same with the ETH, like if ETH falls under 4,000 and Solana falls under 200, that's going to be pretty bearish. Like I might want to have my stop losses set. Seriously consider that the market might be, you know, cooling off for the end of the run. But typically that usually happens in complete euphoria. You know, these fucking pump click tool guys. Fucking, oh my god. One thing about getting a bunch of volume is you get all the the scammers in the chat. So fucking annoying. Ondo is one I was bullish on beginning of the summer. At this point, not really. I mean, I don't have any, probably not going to have any. It is kind of interesting. You know, they're looking to be like one of the banker, you know, money mover coins. Getting their hands into some stable coin stuff. Whew, look at Doge. Got all the way up to 30 cents. What's the all-time high? Isn't it like 70 cents or something? It doesn't even go back that far. That's funny. Yeah, that's when the market was cooked. June 2021. And then by November, we had the fake pump. Anyways. So how the Root Guardians doing? Let's go check out Magic Eden. Saw we had a buy or two today. Yeah, about an hour ago, someone bought a nice beach with the hoodie. That's looking right. Golden Radiance. Amethyst palette. That's nice. I like that one. So if you do have a Root Guardian, you can take it over to SoulSuite/Root Guardians and stake your NFTs. And for staking your NFTs, you're actually earning Root. So we're going to continue to supply this pool and using the creator rewards. You know, we had a nice chunk of creator rewards today that's probably going to fuel this LP pool or this staking pool for the NFTs for quite some time. So if you come over to soulsuite.io/Root Guardians, click on the staking button, you're able to stake your Root Guardians to earn additional Root. And you can actually see it climbing. So just in the last couple minutes, I've earned 2,000 Root. That's pretty awesome. It's based on NFTs per day, so it's like I think it's 1,500. We can check it out on the TreeRoot.City website. $777. So yeah, we're doing 777 per NFT. So you get 10 NFTs, you're getting 70,000 every day. Multiply by 10 days, that's 700,000 root tokens every 10 days. That's pretty nice, just for 10 NFTs. That would probably pay for the NFT itself. It's only 0.08 Solana. So, fun little thing we got going on here. Hopefully we're catching the attention of the right people. Of trees are root. Starting from the root and growing up. Started from the root, now we hear. So that's a pro tip. Actually follow Elon, who's the founder of Pump, and anytime he tweets, I just say something about root or something. So, hey, shout out to the 9 watchers over in the chat. Still got so much fucking spam. Every time I look, there's another spam message. It's so annoying. 0G. What we got going on? Why don't we kind of want to listen to Jack talk? Was that space recorded? Cypherius. It was long too, 2 hours. I guess it just felt long because I was at work. But what I'm thinking here, I kind of want to run through this space and play some Mattle.
Super curious to see how the market responds to it and what cool ideas are going to shuffle out of it.
Yeah, by the way, I just started the spaces so that we can have even larger audience listening to us. So we're just gonna broadcast it to spaces too. And
Awesome.
I guess you started the stream on Pump, right? And then you're just using Restream to put it into YouTube, and that's how it works.
Cool. All right,
Yeah,
so let
but
me
anyway,
get the
people are
phone
pulling
set
up,
up, then we'll do
into
some light
spaces,
gaming and
we can just have
I gotta go take a
maybe
leak real quick.
conversation from spaces as well. And I can see maybe I can get Jason in to jump into. Yeah, I mean, like, let's just like do this like free format type of conversation. Those are usually the best because they're the most honest ones. So, yeah.
Sorry, just getting this set up here.
You know, you just walking down the street and we see each other, haven't seen each other in a long time. We're just like, yo, what's up, man? How you been?
Yeah, well, I'm like from Hawaii technically, so like that's how we do it. We don't really premeditate anything and like don't really plan. They're like, yeah, anything goes.
Yeah, that's the best way to do it, though, bro. Everything here in New
Awesome.
York City is pretty.
All right, so let's play some Seeker games and chill out, listen to this space. Just real quick, I'm gonna go use the restroom, and I will be right back.
Or fall into the rail tracks. I know how it is.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's another level out here. What is kind of cool though is it's cool to see crypto really coming to life in the city. I don't know if it's something about like the younger generation finally becoming an adult. And again, the Pump Fun thing. I mean, you talked about it like the token factory. That's kind of what for me feels like this new era of discovery, where we've lowered the bar again of how you can get introduced to crypto. I mean, I think the bar is way too freaking low on Pump Fun, and why, again, I feel like you guys having something like that out of the box for X1 chain will be relatable. You know, it's going to definitely be very relatable for the next generation. But also, it brings a little bit more, again, market security to transactions for validators. You know, something people know that everyone's getting into. And then if you are running a validator, you know that that thing is going to spin, the flywheel is going to fly. And, you know, hopefully it's magic. It's magic out of the box.
Yeah,
It just never happened before. There's never really been a chain out the box with something besides, hey man, we airdropped our coins to everybody. So you create, or we're gonna what we're gonna do, we're gonna bring in Uniswap, and you're gonna make LPs with the Uniswap fork, and we're just gonna see where the flywheel goes from there.
yeah. Well, I think like the whole genesis of this whole journey is it has been very interesting because, and this is funny. I want to bring it up. So Axel is traveling and he's like meeting people and all that, and I think I mentioned to him, I'm like, hey, because we didn't raise money from like major VCs
For validators, you know,
not the first problem actually it's pretty cool.
initial market flywheel, because now everyone has discovered, oh wow, Hyperliquid might be onto something, creating what they have 390 billion uh, in revenue, or is it revenue? Or is it activity? Like they had $390 billion go in and out of the chain, or in and out of the program in August. And I knew for a fact, once everybody saw that we were going to have what we have right now in September, everybody trying to come out with their own perpetual so they can have $390 billion flow through the chain and it can look cool.
Yeah.
But again, I feel like this is where we are on a developer scheme, or I shouldn't say scheme, but this is where the devs are trying to create revenue. And if there was some sort of way to create your own flywheel, we might see better apps. We might see more, innovation within the crypto app sphere. And if X1 is going to have an individual working on bringing that innovation, I mean, that's some new. I haven't actually, unless you're going to start stating other people out there that have helped blockchains build their apps out. I mean, I would say this is probably one of the first times that this is going to happen.
Yeah, well, it's not the first time, but certainly it's one of those things that is very important to have at long. I mean, like if you think about it, Pulse Chain. I mean, like they did copy Uniswap and made it into, I forget what that swap thing is called. So
PLLX, PulseX.
PulseX, yeah. I mean, like I know it's blasphemous not to remember it, but I'm sorry, it's just not on top of my mind. But anyway. So, I have Jason actually on Spaces, so he can say a few words, and I think it will probably my microphone should be able to capture, so we can send to YouTube and the Palm stream.
Yeah.
Hey, what's up, guys? Can you hear me okay?
I can hear you.
So, first of all, yeah, thanks, Jack. Very, very excited to be a part of X1 and to bring XDEX and DGen into the whole X1 ecosystem. Yeah, so crypto, there are some things that we could technically do down the road with the validators and all that. I've been thinking about that sort of thing. It's like, how can you go from DGen to staking to validators, and then this massive flywheel. And so yeah, to be determined on that. We're gonna look at that and see what we can do.
All right.
There's a lot of exciting things now
gonna
that
check
we're
on this
part of
colony
X1 that we can
game.
tap into. So yeah, it's gonna be really cool. So as far as the flywheel, you mentioned the flywheel. That's essentially what DGen, XDEX, and the validators in X1 as a whole creates, right? So you have the entry into X1. Really, it's through Solana users, right? So DGen is a dual chain, so it works on both Solana and X1, and we'll launch on Solana first, and we'll introduce the Solana community to X1, right? So as they start to play with all the really cool gamified features of DGen, which I don't think anybody else out there is doing. I don't know of any other launch pad that has, you know, Skull NFTs, Skull Wars, and Degen Vaults, and the feed, and what we're doing there. So it's going to be really interesting, not from just the standpoint of being the first launch pad on X1, but actually being one of the coolest launch pads in existence. So there's that in itself. It's very marketable because everybody's creating a launch pad. You throw out those humongous numbers, and it's true, right? Everybody wants a piece of that, but somebody already did it, right? So now everybody's trying to take their little share. So what can you do to get in there and make it better and make it different? And you have to introduce things that regular companies, regular people aren't thinking about. Degens, you know, they're not thinking like a degen. And so that's what we're doing. We're thinking like a degen. How do we get people in from Solana into X1, get the validators churning,
I
creating
have
the
no
yield,
idea what this game is
you know,
doing.
producing, you know, the blocks, the rewards, and then creating a trading engine with XDEX, you know, the home for X1 users, right? What can you do there? Well, you can swap. What else can you do there? You can lend. I mean, you can valistake is what I've been calling it. You can do a lot of different things. So it is a flywheel. Enter in through Solana to X1 through Dgen, right? Meme coin launches, crazy activity, gamified stickiness, and then from there, it's all its liquidity is pushed to XDEX, and so everything is just right in its own ecosystem. Not to mention the wallet, which is on the roadmap. So we're going to have all of this connected so that it's easy to use, that you don't have all these massive growing pains from an early blockchain that you've seen out there. Like, you know, you mentioned some dexes out there that I've had experience myself with. So it's like, you know, that's X1 is launching with an
Throwing
ecosystem.
shade on
That
Pulse
is
Chain.
extremely important. It's massive, right? It's like you're already going to have the tools to be up and running. So the builders can come. They've got, you know, liquidity pools that they can utilize. They've got things that they can tap into. It's not just a ghost town. It's kind of ready to go, right? So again, yeah, super excited, happy to be a part of the team. You know, anybody has any questions? We got a couple of groups going on. Feel free to hit me up. But very happy to be here. Very, very happy to be part of X1. So thank you, Jack. Jack, best decision ever. So kudos to you.
Yeah,
Dude,
that's awesome.
I was no, I was gonna just say like what I like about this whole
So
out the
Tanzanian?
box experience is that one of the growing pains in crypto still to this day, regardless to us being 15 years into this world, is that the normal person still doesn't know how to get here. They're still challenged on how do I get to a Bitcoin or to an Ethereum. And it could be like to your point, Jason, that like when these chains launch, they launch in such a collaborative environment that it does make it a little bit choppy for someone new to like, no, where do I go? Like, which one can I agree on? So
That's
everything
never
coming
happened
out of the
before.
box at the same time really will help consolidate that like, I don't want to say customer, but this is me just thinking from a customer mindset. But that user, like that person who's going to come to
That was
our
weird. I was in the
chain,
middle of the fucking game.
look to
Better not have taken my
discover and
points.
find things, right? Like they're out there right now. That's why I think Solana is doing so well, because you have people looking and they're getting their needs answered when they go to SVM. But when they go to
Man, I did
Ethereum,
normal mode and it
for
feels
ETH
so
lovers,
slow.
but when they go to ETH, it is a, you know, a ground, or like well, I shouldn't say this either, but it's a battleground. Like everybody wants to get your attention. Everybody's trying to pull you their direction, because there is that thing hanging over your head called gas fees that is going to sway which way that you think, and how you react. So we don't have that on SVM, right? Like I've heard from numerous people the reason why they like SVM is because they don't need one whole Solana to make a transaction, right? They can have one Solana and they can transact all year long, and that allows them to explore and discover more in the chain. So it's going to be really interesting watching this all unfold at one time.
Yeah, I see. Yeah, it's going to be really cool. So I see it as like two things, right? One is tapping into the Solana user base, but the other is how can we absolutely simplify onboarding for a new user. That's so important, right? Because when we're talking about getting users
True.
from Solana instead of from other places, people who have been in this space already.
Backpack
But
wallet
now that
sucks.
crypto is really going mainstream, how do we make it super, super easy? That's never been something the Pulse chain, in my eyes, have solved, right? So it's like, how can we do that? So I'm going to be focused on figuring that out as we go, right? It's like, how can we do that? How can you just go to XDEX and then onboard? So that'll be a problem that I try to find a solution for.
You might have a problem with too much fee coming in, bro. Just too much fee.
Well, that's a good problem.
It is a good problem to have, yeah. By the way, guys, there are still, I think there's like 558 unminted skulls still available for mint. So
And that's the
if you
second
guys wanna
mint.
grab a cool skull and put it onto your PFP.
Still got my 10 degen skulls.
I posted the link to how to do it under the spaces.
I accidentally picked the bat, so we're rolling with the double bat.
So skull has purpose, and you know I don't know what I'm supposed to or allowed to say, but there's a point to them. Put it that way. So check the Git book for degen and all of that, or ask me some questions. But there's a point to that those skulls. We have something else called the Skull Wars, which is pretty cool. It's a competition based on volume, and it can graduate you from one skull, having one skull and participating, into having what's called a skull god, which is a higher tiered multiplier, which is pretty cool.
I guess it's better if I don't look at the phone, if I look at the screen.
So some of the fees go into this
I'm not
vault,
looking down the whole
and
time.
they're there for folks who stake, right? So you stake degen, you get a portion of that vault. If you have an NFT, it may be it's a multiplier to that tier when you stake. So that's the purpose of it. There's also other things. If you hold a skull, you get carte blanche on the site, right? You don't pay any fees for things. The feed is kind of created as an integrated piece. It's like Telegram, but integrated into the Launchpad. So we don't want it spammed and a lot of other crazy things happening. So if you're a creator and you have a skull, then you just you don't have to hold any degen or anything like that. You get to create, no problem. And there's other things that it does too, like shill videos, and there'll be trending and boosting and all kinds of stuff down the road. So these are, in my eyes, they're pretty valuable.
Yeah, and one other thing I want to add, and I spoke about it earlier, but because XDEX and degen is going to be on Solana, we may actually not need to raise money ever again, because we should be able to make revenue from Solana as we work on X1. So Solana becomes this sort of like a testing ground for those protocols where people can actually interact with X1 related.
That's pretty interesting,
then,
right?
Use X1 as well when they're ready.
Boom.
That's huge. That's huge.
Everybody's mind's blown.
I see Simple Waters pulled up. Welcome to the spaces. Good to see you.
Yeah, this is it's pretty awesome. Some big news yesterday. I saw that tweet and I was like, oh man, this is. I didn't know if it was going to be X1 launching, just a stealth launch like that, but no, it's a great partnership with Jason. Congrats, Jason. That's huge. Yeah, just kind of flowing up. I it's interesting though, because obviously seeing what's happened in the market. Crypto Bro, good to hear that you're still doing the thing. But I know that the Aster token has kind of been a big thing, and Binance has kind of been awakening, so to speak. I guess this may be a question just for anyone up here. So like it seems like this like focus for like non-custodial trading.
Here comes the bad guy.
And just like multi-chain support. Do you see that kind of being something that XDEX provides, Jason, and like perpetuals and like obviously staking and things like that? Do you kind of see where Aster is and like this ideology that's kind of coming out in the last few days? Obviously CZ pumping it's one thing, but how do you kind of see that flowing into X1 chain?
So with XDEX, it's right. We got to get a product out there, right, so that you can swap on X1.
Oh, you motherfucker.
Now, I'm an extremely competitive person. So I want XDEX to be not just catching up to where other people are on other chains, but to asset. So perpetuals, yes, for sure. And then what else can we do to make it even better? So it's not going to be limited to, you know, an AMM or anything like that. It's going to be the place you want to go on X1.
I love to hear that, because that really reinforces
Let's
like
go.
Jason's on the same page.
Yeah,
Like,
I mean,
maybe
we don't just need
Go ahead.
another AMM.
I was going to say we're
we
talking
actually need some
even
unique
lending
ideas.
and that sort of thing, kind of like Camino or MarginFi. You know that we've got also the X1 Ripper now for X1 too. I mean, we got some really cool things going.
Yeah, the Ripper is cool.
But yeah,
Shout
so to
out
answer your
Swag
question,
Maker.
so the first thing is get the product out there, get it working, and start immediately working on V2.
epic.
Yo, you know what's crazy about the perpetuals is like from at least from what I've been talking about on my stream is Jupiter was one of the first people to drop the VPN and like allow everyone to kind of participate in this. And it was what was wild was like a month ago, Jupiter was sneaking up because there was no other competition to Hyperliquid. And a lot of people were going there to do their perpetual trading on ETH, Sol, and BTC. And when I did more digging into it, they figured out essentially how you don't need a VPN for Americans. And what it was, it came down to making sure all the trades were on chain. So once they like kind of, I guess, did the experiment, we're seeing everyone follow behind Jupiter. And now all of these perpetuals are on chain instead of what they were a month
No.
ago, which
No way.
was on layer 2 EVMs on centralized servers. So then they had to do the VPN to make sure they didn't get sued and whatnot by the SEC. So yeah, we're in like a really special time in crypto because decentralization seems to be the key or the answer to a lot of this new generated revenue that's come into our space.
Well, I think the issue is licensing. So you can't just launch an exchange and create this sort of like online casino without getting a specific license. So you guys know Arthur Hayes. He's actually like the proto creator of perps. Like he's the one who came up with the concept. Like I don't know, maybe like 6 or 7 years ago. He actually got sued by the government, and he was like under home arrest for like 6 months, maybe 12 months, and he paid a fine, like I think like $10 million or something like that. But he was the one that first created the Perpetuals platform that introduced the concept of the borrowing or basically leveraging and then having shorts pay the borrowing fees to longs and vice versa. So when there's more shorts
Oh fuck.
on an asset, like for example, everybody's shorting Bitcoin or Solana or whatnot, then what happens is that the longs end up getting paid by shorts. So shorts borrow from
That's
longs,
insane right there.
and longs are getting paid with fees. And when the market is bullish, it's the other way
What?
around. To go long and leverage, you have to pay fees to shorts because shorts take the, counter position and
Motherfucker.
they kind of like sponsor your trade, like so to speak, and they get paid for, 1 in 10 chances to actually for the asset to drop, or they realize the sort of like capital profit. And so that one thing is what separates the regular futures from the perpetual futures, which is what they call perpetual, means that they have no expiration as long as the fees for lending of the credit get paid by someone. And that was what Hyperliquid has implemented. So Hyperliquid has no transaction fees. They just take a percentage of the lending that people lending that's done when you borrow. So like on Hyperliquid, you go and you deposit 1,000 USDC, and you can 40x leverage your Bitcoin purchasing. Now, why is it 40x? Well, because Bitcoin compared to the other tokens like Ethereum and Solana actually does not move as fast. So anytime there's like it moves 1% up or down, Solana would move 3%, and Ethereum would move 2%. And so this allows people to basically be in Bitcoin, but experience the volatility, both upside and downside, and capture profits or losses by leveraging 10x, 20x, 40x with this $1,000. And so you have this $1,000 USDC, you leverage it 40 times. Now you have $40,000 borrowed. If the market is bearish and you're going long, you're getting paid by the shorts because everybody's shorting the market. And so this $40,000 is basically, even though you're borrowing it, but the credit to you is getting paid to you. And then when the market turns bullish, then you're the one who have to like pay. And I think it's about 10% a month, 10% a year, or like maybe 1% a month that you pay if you hold that position open. So $1,000 leveraged to 40, and then 1% of that is, what is it like? I guess that would be $400 a month you need to pay to Hyperliquid to maintain the $40,000 landed position or leverage position. And so if Bitcoin does not move, then you just lose money on the fees. But anyway, but that's how the fees are captured, specifically from lending through leverage, which is very unique design, and I think that's why people like Hyperliquid.
Why do you think people like perpetuals though?
Well, like I said,
Because he's
like I said, I mean, like
the
people in the
fees.
space are here to make money, so that's one. Now, there are people who are
Don't have the expirations like you do in futures.
So before perps,
It's perpetually
the outside
active.
gains you could get only through memes or something that's just launched. Otherwise, you just do not get the return that you would get with Bitcoin. I mean, what are the choices? There's like major 5, right? Bitcoin, Solana, Ethereum, XRP, Sui.
When futures expire, they force your trade closed.
And soon X1, right?
Perpetuals, as long as you keep the fee,
out
pay
of
the
those
fee to
top
keep the trade
5,
open, it'll stay open forever. So that way, if you're down like 10,000%,
don't get 10x
you can keep the
ever.
trade open for a year.
You can't, because the
Maybe it'll
market
pump
is
next year.
bearish. Now, the solution is, before perps, is to buy some meme coins. Which
Exciting
can go
times
down to
ahead,
zero,
mate.
like,
Yeah, exactly, man. I'm so
something
pumped for
happens to them,
X1.
it's gone, right? Or you can get lucky. So it's gambling on top of gambling, right? But let's say that you want to achieve outsized returns using Bitcoin. Well, you go to Hyperliquid, or you go anywhere else, Drift, or you use Jupiter. By the way, Phantom Wallet on Solana just integrated Hyperliquid, I think. You can go to the Phantom Wallet, and if you're not in US, you can just open up leverage positions. Now, of course, the leverage positions involve a lot of risk, and that's obvious. Unlike meme coins, if you get liquidated, you're completely gone. You lost all your money. Okay. With a meme coin, you could buy the top, and it could dump. And if you're holding spot, you still have your coins. Now, if the coin turns around and makes another all-time high, you win, right? If you would have done that with leverage on Hyperliquid, you would be gone and completely liquidated. There would be nothing left in your account. Okay, so that is the major difference between getting into a risky game of alts versus haphazardly leveraging even Bitcoin. Like you may accidentally leverage it too much, and if the market turns against you within 2%, you're gone, because 2% drop on a 40x leverage would be 80% drop. So 2.5%, your position is gone, it's liquidated, and you can't play anymore. So that's kind of like the thing. However, if you leverage 4x for Bitcoin, technically it has to fall, 75% for you to, or maybe I'm wrong, maybe it's 25% it has to fall, which is actually pretty hard. Like there are rare instances where it does happen over a week or 2 weeks. I remember in 2022
Got
it
him.
fell 50% in just 2 weeks. So that can happen. So your 4x would be liquidated. But unlike today, I don't think that that's actually viable, because we have this golden statue of Trump holding a little Bitcoin in his arm, or I don't know, maybe that has something to do with it. Certainly, we're not like in this sort of hyper volatile market. But like you could choose the wrong coin in Hyperliquid and it goes against you, and then your account is gone, which will not happen to you if you're trading memes.
Yeah, I feel like that whole perpetual experience right now is the new crypto fad. And people are definitely loving this ideology that they don't have to spot buy and they can do a quick 10x leverage play in about a 2-hour span, hopefully. And I mean, the casino is it's. I mean, it's funny, right? The casino a year ago was on Avalanche doing inscriptions, and,
Yeah,
you dropped a Sky Casino,
yeah.
and now you have this safer version of this because it's true. Like, I think people want to be in majors and they don't want to play with memes and they want to feel like they're again because once you get into a meme, you're way far away from the Bitcoin or from the Ethereum. And if you can do a small leverage play, then you can, bet heavy. And then what you have right now, I saw a crypto banter. He was doing leverage on Pump Fund's token. And it brought like a whole new feeling from Pump Fund from just being a meme platform
True.
to being something where actual traders were like, hey, should I do leverage on Pump Fund? And then I seen people saying, should I do leverage on Hyperliquid? And I think it's just so fascinating how we're in this new era where you can transform from being a meme coin to being a utility overnight if people actually see your product.
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
So it's a whole new game, and I mean, yeah, you're gonna have your degens who are gonna want to go and do 500x leverage. And 0.1% the price moves, they get liquidated and they're crying, but
Don't forget Daddy
I don't think we're gonna
Richard.
be able to stop those guys. But
Daddy Richard
what?
said ladies, liquor, and leverage. So just be careful out there for anyone that's using leverage.
Yeah. So speaking of gains, Degen token on Solana is up 60% today.
Go.
I mean, the volume isn't huge, but it's like 5 times the volume that we have had in September. So that's pretty cool. So people are paying attention and getting some Degen, which is awesome.
Whew, that's close.
As they should.
As they should, yeah.
Hey Jack,
Well,
can you explain like the consensus messages on Solana and how like X1 isn't going to be, we don't really pay those?
Oh, you're talking about voiding transactions?
Yeah.
Okay. So one of the key features on X1 that, unlike Solana, where when the validator joins, they have to pay.
I gotta piss again.
Voting protocol.
Be right back.
Which is about 1.5 SOL per day, which is a lot. So you can't join Solana as a validator without a giant bag of Solana. And I think the reason why they did it is this sort of like was a filtering mechanism because they didn't know how stable the chain would be if 10,000 validators would join. And so they introduced this concept of like not only you have to stake to your validator to become effective, but you also pay fees for the consensus messages themselves, which I understand the logic, but I just don't think it's necessary on X1. And I think, and that's how, by the way, majority of the blockchain projects gatekeep people who they don't know what they're gonna do because they don't even know how their blockchain would end up like handling the load. And so because we spanked our chain pretty hard and we actually feel very comfortable in terms of how loaded it can be, we just removed the consensus messages fees completely. So as a validator, you just join by paying $150 a month. It's very inexpensive. Obviously, it's like 100 times cheaper than Solana. And that actually ties into the first principles where a regular normal person, should they apply their knowledge and learn how to run a validator, they don't need to pay those extra fees to the network. And by the way, let me stress this, that on Solana, when those voting transaction fees are paid, who do you think gets them? It's those top 10 validators because they capture all the fees. So we have a couple of thousand nodes on Solana where the top 10 capture all of the voting consensus fees by everyone else who just wants to join the chain and just be part of the project and part of this sort of like a decentralized network. But they can't achieve that without paying the cabal. So now I know Solana guys are working on this problem and they want to introduce more fair way to distribute the fees. And they also want to turn off the voting fees at some point because the network is a lot more stable now. But anyway, we start without requiring people to pay anything to anybody. You just pay for a validator and that's all you need to do. And you can stake as little as 1 XNT to become a validator that can actually produce blocks.
Yeah, that's epic. That's really awesome. So then, so do you think? I mean, I don't know if it's really important for X1, but do you think Solana will change that at any point?
I think they'll change it. And I think it's the right thing to do. And I was telling Tolly that they should remove it, actually. And I think they agree that it needs to go. But there's like many other things that need to happen before this happens. And of course, at the same time, because the airplane or spaceship rather is in flight, you don't want to swap out an engine, going close to the speed of light right now. It's kind of can introduce weird situation where there's like money now need to be reallocated. There's a lot of slushing around. Like what happens to those 10 top validators? They will not like necessarily make as much revenue from the voting transactions anymore. So it's very it's not even a technical problem as much as it is an economic problem. And so when you build a system that has this sort of economy build up over time and people are used to it, when you make changes that are dramatic, it can actually be very detrimental for the Sol token, just because there could be some unusual circumstances where things don't quite work the way they would work. Like one of the really strange and weird things that they have done, just like I think 8 months ago, they stopped their transaction burn. So it used to be that 50% of Solana fees that you pay for a transaction would not be and they turned it off.
We're back. Sorry about that.
So now the stand top validators make even more money, okay? Because those fees are not
Didn't realize this
getting
was so
burned
low.
and there's no deflation. So inflation has increased. People pay just as much for the fees, and the regular Solana holder is not getting the benefit of the richest validators getting richer, and the supply is now getting more it became more inflationary because there's no burn. And so for X1 we're definitely keeping the burn. 50% of all transactions will be burned because we don't want just this 8% inflation to inflate in perpetuity. I mean, obviously every year it's going to be decreased by about 15%. So we start at 8 and then it's like 7.75 and then it's 7.5 and so on and so forth. However, when it comes to paying fees, we definitely want 1/2 or 50% of those fees that users pay to be burned. Because as the chain gets more active, we want this sort of deflationary force to introduce this sort of scarcity elements to XNT. As in, certain amount of it will be gone if the chain gets active. And that's like 100% assured because you can see it within the protocol. And that I think is very important. And so the more transactions we have, the more fees you end up burning.
Awesome. Yeah, that's exciting, and yeah, it definitely seems like just the ability to just like plug into X1 and be able to validate and be rewarded fairly, like you were saying that the top 10 validators in Solana are just kind of bloated and get rewarded for that. This way, it sounds like it's just distributing it, which is pretty epic.
Yeah, I would say that all of the Solana FUD out there is pretty much retarded. That is the only FUD that I think is real, where the Nakamoto coefficient keeps shrinking. So Solana's Nakamoto coefficient used to be 30, and now it's like 12, which basically means that it will only take 12 entities to censor or manipulate the chain, potentially. Of course, it probably will never happen. But certainly, if you're measuring the Nakamoto coefficient in terms of decentralization, that's a problem. And especially, it's moving in the wrong direction. Now, on X1, because we're using this method where not only we randomize the ability for the validators to be elected to produce blocks, but we have this like stake pool system that elects the validators fairly based on their merits rather than just stake. It is quite possible that our Nakamoto coefficient is going to be like 150 from launch, based on how many validators actually connect to mainnet. So that's going to be quite different, and I think that's one of the things to be proud of, because we definitely don't want to have this sort of like a top-heavy chain where the top 10 guys get majority of the benefits from everybody's transactions, and the rest of the folks that are connected to the chain are just getting inflation, which is like, if you think about it, inflation in itself does not change value. In fact, inflation is detrimental for the value. However, it's kind of like a form of credit, right? So you want the validator to connect to get the rewards for the work that they do. But should the chain get active, we want those rewards to be basically paid by the users who burn their fees. And when the fee is burned, so the fee is burned, and then the validator actually has the yield, which comes through inflation. So you have a burn and inflation. If those things are equal, that actually means that a user who spent their money on fees passed it on to a validator that produced the block, which is completely fair. That's how things kind of like should be. In Solana, it's not happening anymore because they have no burn. So, and that's unfortunate. I mean, well, fortunate for us, because that's one other key differentiator that can separate us from the sort of like economic formula between X1 and Solana, which I think will be very attractive for people when they come to join the chain. Or just buy XNT.
Yeah.
I mean, like, if you buy XNT, you actually immediately get all of those benefits that you currently don't necessarily have on Solana. And like the other thing, like, let's say that if all things were equal and Solana did everything what we did, Solana is still $150 billion project. 150 billion is a lot. It's very difficult to double and triple that. Now, you know what's not hard to double and triple? A project that's just $1 billion. Because you can
Just
literally can go to 5 billion to 10 billion in a year, right? And there's no way you can have that on a project that's worth 150 billion. So anyway, the opportunity is in scale, in size, and ability to make incremental performance and economic improvements over time from day one.
So and that's pretty epic. I did see this, and it was a Zenzu tweet, and I'll put in the nest. But it was life goals, and it said X1 achieves immediate and sustainable decentralization from the consensus layer from day one. Do you see that being a goal that can be reached?
Well, I don't see why not. I mean, like, we have 400 validators, and not all of them are ours, clearly. I mean, you know those guys. I mean, like, well, Polish community is pretty strong, so those guys are... I don't know what it is about Poland, but they love running validators.
It's all of Athena. All of Athena has been rallying them.
Yeah, there's that, and they have their own, group, and yeah. So anyway, I mean, like, we will start very well decentralized to begin with, and that's super important. But there's like one thing I want to mention that would be somewhat of a unique situation with us. So we are not interested in dumping a bunch of supply into the market right away. We're actually interested in creating value, and this value can be created by a very careful distribution of XNT both on Solana and X1. So when we launch the chain, which hopefully is going to be fairly soon now, what will happen is that 100% of XNT supply is minted to this first validator. Now, the next thing that will happen is there will be the sort of like an incentive airdrop for all of the testnet validators. And we're very close releasing a paper that actually spells out exactly what those validators are going to be getting. But what they will be getting is 10% of their airdrop will be immediately available in liquid, and the 90% will vest over time for about a year. And you have to continue to be a validator on mainnet to actually completely earn your incentives for being on the testnet. So people who've been on the testnet for about a year, they max out their airdrop. And so this airdrop in its entirety, plus the mainnet incentives for being a validator, which we call a bootstrap bonus, probably is going to be around like 5%.
Damn.
Around that much. So that is relatively significant. But of course, like one thing I want to say is when crypto projects launch and you release the token and it's like has a life of its own, and there's like tokenomics published and there's a pie chart who gets what. And I would like that to be a dynamic thing, meaning that when we launch a chain, we actually don't know what happens next in the way of who is going to be using the chain, will there be users, how many users there will be, and like what the frequency of transactions and how many validators join. We know nothing of that. So I would like to start really slowly, where we just don't release a bunch of tokens out in the market and have people just speculate and be like completely psychotic about what's happening. And then every time I open my mouth from one side, you know, the token dumps, and then like I, you know, twirl my ears the other way, and then everything is pumping, right? So I would rather have this sort of like a soft incursion into the crypto space with this powerful entity that's X1, and then release the XNT across the cohort of our communities in a measured way that allows this sort of like the stability of the value to occur.
Execute it. You have your hand up. What's going on, buddy?
He has his hand up, but I don't think he's here.
He's probably just gonna ask when.
Yeah.
Execute, if you can hear us, just do a round trip. We can't hear you.
Crypto bro, you still at your stream station? Are we good? Well, I see his chat is working. Anyway, so looks like Degen has pumped today, and it is available on Solana. And the next steps, what we're doing is we are, so I'm working with our director in Cayman Islands, where the X1 Foundation is formed. We got him set up with multisig, or rather we helped him to set up his wallet with multisig. He tested everything. He's now the sort of like a member of the multisig cohort of people that can
I suck with the ninja.
do transactions on X1. And so the next thing what we're doing is, and I'm just like being completely transparent. So he's getting a node up that he will be testing in a way of like basically creating genesis of the blockchain. So just having a single node, single bootstrap node with a blockchain and at the block 0 is not yet a mainnet, and all it is just a server that can become mainnet if everything works well. So we're currently in a cycle where he is getting this thing set up, and we're building up the way within the code to launch so that he can launch the bootstrap node. Now, the reason why he has to do it is that the blockchain has to launch from Caymans. It can't launch from United States because there is an immediate question of like taxation. If you mint the tokens and those tokens worth even like any value, then the IRS wants a piece of it. And so by having a completely separate entity that lives in Caymans, where it's basically a tax-free zone, there is no taxation at all. So why is it good? Well, that just means that the project can keep more of its value towards the development of the community, and getting new validator airdrops, that sort of thing, getting new builders. Like, what is the point of paying taxes on something that's like barely just started? But like, the law is the law. I mean, like, as soon as you create any value within that year, you have tax liability. So Cayman's Foundation, X1 Foundation, allows us not to have this sort of tax liability. And when I say not us, I am not speaking on the behalf of X1 Labs, because that company will pay taxes for sure. I'm talking about this sort of a decentralized open source project that is launching from Caymans and not going to be an American company. Essentially, it's just a company that holds the majority of the assets, and it is the Cayman's director that ultimately has the constitution and makes all of the decisions how, and also acts as an executor of pushing those tokens around. Now, the funny thing I want to say, there's like a quick story. So Layer 0 guys, I think they had 15 people. They all had to move to some Caribbean islands, like all of them, to do what they do. So, which is kind of funny. But certainly Layer 0 is a very successful project, and
My phone is so
I'm glad
hot
that
right
they
now.
don't need to pay,
Nice God
American
candle.
taxes.
Hell yeah.
Just, because everything in crypto is in the work in progress, unless it's Bitcoin.
We're bouncing
Bitcoin
all over
is
the
cool.
place. We're going.
But even that, there's like new account schemas and so on and so forth. There's going to be quantum resistance implementation, so it's still work in progress. But you know what I mean.
So with the quantum, maybe in the
Awesome.
vein of the quantum resistance, do you see X1? I know obviously Zen blocks is something that's running parallel.
I'm probably
but,
gonna just grind out the
is
rest
a
of my
system that's
points
gonna be
here, and then we'll
integrated.
call it a night.
Do you see
I think I got
X1
like
chain
2 or 3 more
as a
games.
whole being
Let's see.
a quantum resistant chain and kind of embracing the AI?
Yeah, I
Like
see
5
that.
more games.
I mean, it's not very hard to harden your encryption to be quantum
6 more games.
resistant. Because like proof of work is different. Proof of work is just like how much compute you can dedicate to create a hash. Where proof of stake systems are not subject to 51% attacks or anything like that, so it doesn't matter how quickly you can hash. What does matter though is whether the wallet that you own cannot be broken by a quantum brute force attack. And there are algorithms that can be used and switched over to be resistant. So we can literally have a modification to this sort of like a crypto algorithm that encrypts your key to be quantum resistant in the future. But we'll have to have quantum algorithms that actually work on breaking the encryption first before we can implement it.
Execute. Can you hear us?
There's some people who want to come up as speakers too. So let's add those people.
Yeah, I tried bringing a few people up. I don't know if they're still connecting.
Yeah, we have a bunch of Polish guys just joined. Welcome, guys. Good to see you. I see some skulls. Skulls are coming up. Teddy Bear. Teddy Bear is a Polish dude. He's been running X1 validator on Phantom because I remember seeing him there, and now he's running one on X1 SVM. There's some Pulsicans. Welcome to the chat. What's up?
Buddy, look, you know me already for a long time ago. I want to know if you will launch Shrex, the Richard Her coin on X1, man. I want that coin on X1.
Shucks.
It's coming or no?
Yeah, I think.
Yeah, baby.
I
love it.
I think we should do it. Yeah, I think it will be fun.
I registered.
Thank you for all the work you do, man. Thank you.
I registered ehex.xyz, by the way.
Ooh. You have to be careful. Richard has a lot of money. He can sue us.
XX.
Shucks.
Yeah, shucks.
Mastin Game, what's going on? Can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you. Before anybody says anything, just want to let y'all know, I'm number one. Just want to let y'all know.
China number one.
But Taiwan, not a real country. Not a real country. But what's going on, everybody? Jack, appreciate you for coming through. Simple, thank you for letting me up. Man, I'm just observing and taking it all in, no diddy, and just waiting for this greatness. That's it, man. Thank you for letting me up.
Awesome.
Greatness is happening. There's no need to wait. We're here right now. Everyone's here. We're fucking. This is big time right now. Let's fucking go.
Let's go.
Yeah, so I can take questions on anything if you guys have any questions. So feel free to raise your hand, come up on do whatever you like.
Jack, in regard to the burning on Solana, does the RPC stuff have anything to do with that? With them kind of shutting it off, burning of the fees?
You know, I think it has something to do with. I actually like nobody can tell me why they did it. I certainly can see why people who make a lot of fees on Solana would want it, and they voted for it. But I don't see the reason. Really, it just doesn't make much sense to me. I think they hired this like Max Resnick, former Ethereum economist, and I think he like introduced it as a concept. And also, I think perhaps they thought that the inflation is dropping and they need to boost it and create more incentives. But like the other thing I have heard is that they're designing a protocol where even if you're in the top 10 validators, you will have an option to share the fees with the rest of the community.
Oh man, what the
And
fuck?
the more you share, the more stake you will be receiving. The problem, what they don't realize, is that Binance does not need any more delegated stake. Binance has so much money that they don't have to share any fees to attract more stake. They're top 10, it doesn't matter. So like I don't think they really thought it through.
So isn't like the proof of stake, like isn't it kind of like the richer you are, the more like blocks you can make, and it's kind of like this you're essentially like kind of paying your way in.
Yeah, that's what it is. So you get two sources of earnings. You get your inflation for the stake, but you can get it with any validator. You can have 1,000 validators delegated to, or just one. But the most important thing is the fees, because like the harder pump that fund works, the more fees those validators get. And so if you can corner the market by producing the majority of the blocks, then you're gonna capture all the fees. So you pay yourself by staking and becoming a block producer. Now Ethereum also has this problem. They have two block producers that are dominating the chain, but what they do, they share 99% of those captured fees with the rest of the validators. And that's how they are able to capture the majority of the stake. So they're kind of like elected by the system, by Ethereum system to make blocks. There's only two block producers. The problem with this remains, the Nakamoto coefficient of Ethereum is 2. if one of them decides not to censor transactions, in fact, one of them was censoring Tornado Cash and the other one wasn't. So 50% of transactions that you send to Tornado Cash on Ethereum would be like blocked, and the other 50 wouldn't be. So you can clearly see Nakamoto coefficient of 2 in action, because they themselves said that we're censoring these transactions. And I think there was like the Beaver build. Now Titan block producer was not censoring, and so if you happen to be sending transactions to Titan, which you don't have any control of, it's all like kind of like random, then your transactions will go through. Otherwise, they wouldn't. So yeah, censorship in action with Nakamoto coefficient of 2.
It's interesting.
Yeah, want to welcome up a couple other people, Draco and Camille. Did you guys have any questions?
Yeah, I just had a quick question, guys. I haven't really been paying too much attention to all the developments with X1. I just had a quick question in regards to the XEN token. I know it's lost a lot of value. Is this token still going to be a token that's going to continue to gain in value? And later on, when X1 launches, are we going to be able to burn for X1 token, or is that something completely different? Maybe you guys can keep me up to date with what's going on with that.
So XEN has inflation for the next 5 years. So basically, the inflation is tied to the cost of gas. So the cheaper the gas on Ethereum is, the more XEN can be produced, and more of it can be sold. So somebody who is buying XEN, you have to be mindful you're buying it from somebody who minted it for very, very inexpensive gas for over the last year. So those people are in profit. If you're buying it from them, you're speculating on the fact that there may or may not be more people like that selling more XEN to you or to someone else. So clearly that pressures the value down. And XEN as a project was always been an arbitrage between the cost of gas and cost of production.
Right.
Versus the ability of people to buy it. So you have short-term speculators, and then you have the long-term minters. Short-term speculators can win short-term, but they can lose a lot very quickly. Holding XEN long-term really is a difficult proposition because you have more minters minting XEN, and they're getting it basically for free if you just exclude the cost of gas. So when it comes to the XEN community, we want the XEN community to be on X1, and we are working on a way to create the reward system within X1 for the XEN holders, burners, whatever. Like mostly we always said that it's going to be the fact that if there is a burn record for the XEN token, that, like, let's say the DB XEN, so there's like a project that burns XEN. So we wanted to reward people for the ecosystem
That's
activity. And the burn record was like one of the
I remember being at work earlier and hearing that sound, and it scared the shit out of me.
Is net positive for projects that launch. So we wanted to stimulate more projects to launch, basically, right? And so what we want to do with X1 is that we want to launch the mainnet, create value,
let's go.
build it up, and then eventually reward people for burning XEN that participated in XEN burning activities, like, so to speak. There's also XENFTs, and there's like a bunch of things. Like, obviously this ecosystem is ginormous, so there's many levers and many options that we can do to implement on X1 to give even more value to the community. And of course, like, we want to have people be active on X1, so you don't just like comment, get some airdrop that you can sell immediately. So there will be probably interesting and fun ways to use the chain for like this sort of like a reward system that we're building. But that will come way after the chain launches and actually has any value.
Any ETA on the launch?
Well, we usually say 2 weeks. And I think right now this 2 weeks looks a lot shorter in my mind because, well, first of all, we don't have any issues with the chain. Like, we used to crash the chain on the load. Now it doesn't crash. And we fixed a bunch of bugs that we feel very comfortable with. The rest of the things we have to do is just logistics. So we have the Caymans director. There's a bunch of agreements that need to be signed. We need to actually practice things like multi-sig and to make sure everything's safe. We need to complete an audit for the vesting program for all of the investors. Now, that in itself is very doable and not hard to do. It's just a matter of getting it done properly. So, like right now, as I mentioned earlier, we're just
You motherfucker.
working with the Caymans director to
Do you see that?
launch a
I got a
bootstrap node.
fucking
So we'll just continue to work on that
notification
until it's
right
perfect.
as I.
And that is not hard. But like when you bring in a person who never like touched Solana, obviously
take
they
a
need to
leak
understand
again.
what they're doing, and so that takes a little bit of time. But it's not like anything. It's not anything that you guys haven't done, the validator community yourself. So not that big of a deal.
Okay. Yeah, I know there's just a lot of people who are frustrated with the original kind of vision for what Zen was.
So Draco, real quick, just to interject. So what's really interesting about Zen, obviously, I'm a mentor and participant. What's crazy though? Hello. Yeah, I mean, Gwei is all-time lows, you know, on ETH. So it's like and if you're still playing the Zen game, like it makes sense to be able to mint it, you know, versus buying it, right? But that's my own bias, not financial advice.
Everybody knows you never go full retard.
Well,
got to go half retard, you know what I mean? But like, if you want to go full retard, we can.
Well, the question is it still worth holding, even though it's down significantly in value? Is it still worth holding Zen, or should we just sell out? And
I mean,
So let me answer that.
Mm-hmm.
And I can answer that by saying that I cannot answer that, because literally it doesn't matter what I say. That would constitute somebody like yourself or a bunch of other people taking action and either buying or selling an asset based on some sort of thing that I would say, which could actually go terribly wrong. Also, it constitutes financial advice, which is technically illegal. So there's nothing that we can say in terms of guidance of what you should be doing. The only thing that we always said is that here's the protocol, here's how it works, this is where you can mint it if you want to mint it, and this is where you can trade it. In terms of the direction of what to do with those assets, or if even be involved at all, we cannot actually say that actively. Like, for example, I myself minted a lot of Zen, and I made good money on it, which is awesome. Now, that was my choice, and people could certainly do or have done what I have done. But there's no way that I can say that, hey, you should buy Zen or you shouldn't buy Zen. You should hold it 1 day, or you should be holding it 7 days, or you should be minting and not buying, or buying and not minting. None of that we could actually ever said, and I would discourage anyone out there to not to give financial advice like this, because you can never make people happy. Because first of all, if you're telling people what to do, like, why aren't you doing it yourself? Like, you could be making money. So yeah, but anyway, we have to be very, very careful like this. So I hope I know, like, maybe that's not the answer that you're looking for, but you should probably understand that this is where we're coming from, and this is why we cannot actually say it.
But frognancial advice: mint as long as you can, stake as long as you can. Wait, what? Just frognancial advice, though.
I have a question. I'm new here. What's up, guys? What is Zen and what is X1?
Oh, Matt, coming in hot, loving it.
Okay, I know. I mean, Simple Waters, you have this whole paragraph prepared, and you're very good at it. I just want to say this one thing. So, X1 is the largest fork of Solana, with 400 validators, incredibly decentralized cohort of community members that probably will have better Nakamoto coefficient than Solana, and we're a little bit faster. So that's what X1 is.
And as far as Zen, from my understanding, it's a token that's modeled after Bitcoin as far as principles go. Peer-to-peer digital, trust through consensus, no counterparty risk, no middleman, and self-sovereignty. But essentially, it's a gas token that you pay a gas transaction, and you set your days, you come back at the end of those days, you pay another gas transaction, and that's how the supply was minted. It started at 0, no backing of any kind, and it just kind of foreign lines of code that have been deployed, and Cypherius Prime and his team kind of deployed that, and it's pretty cool because it's stress tested all these different EVMs, and including Solana and Bitcoin, and is kind of in preparation for this X1 chain, which, as you said, is the first fork of Solana. So it's pretty interesting ecosystem.
Okay, thank you. And then are those both are on Solana, or it's a fork, so it's going to be its own chain, or?
So X1 is a fork, and it's basically its own L1, just like Solana, but it's SVM identical, means that all of the protocols that run on Solana today can run on X1. So there's that. Zen actually exists on 12 different EVM chains, and there's some versions of it on different chains too.
And Matt, if you're in LA, I know there's been kicking around talks of a Zen X1 meetup that might be happening in the next few weeks. So just be on the lookout for that.
Oh, fire! Yeah, send me the details, please.
Will do.
Hi, can I?
You can.
Congratulations to Jason and to you and to all the X1 community. So can we say that XDEX is the native DEX of X1? I mean, what's the difference between having XDEX as a separate DEX like it was before, and now that is acquired by you?
So the difference is that Jason is now part of X1 Labs, and we're working together not only on XDEX and the token launcher, we'll also be working on potentially perpetuals as well as the wallet and maybe other things too. So ultimately, the application layer.
The wallet.
So X1 Labs
wow, that's a new one.
Designs the validator
That's
code,
awesome.
obviously, improving it. At the same time, we now have the sort of like a roadmap for the application designs as well.
And Jason, a question to you. Like XDEX, there is this degen launchpad, and it will be possible to launch tokens on both Solana and X1. So this tie between the two chains is very, very tight, it seems. But what's the benefit in having this launcher on
exposure to two communities
instead of just on X1?
It's to introduce all the massive amounts.
Uh-oh.
Can you hear him?
No, I think he rugged.
Yeah, he started talking and then cut out.
Jason, maybe do a round trip or try to change location for connection issues.
Looks like he's back.
X1, the next one.
Oh, I don't know where I cut off. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we didn't hear anything, Jason. So maybe start over.
Oh, great. Sorry about that. So what I was saying is, degen is a dual chain launchpad, right? It was created with the idea on Solana. It was created with the idea of onboarding the user base, getting the user base familiar with X1. So it's a tool. It's like a marketing tool, and it's an introductory tool to the Solana user for X1. And XDEX is similar. It's both protocols can work on both chains, and it's since X1 is a fork of Solana, it makes sense. People are familiar with certain applications. Those certain applications may end up on X1. So there's synergies, massive synergies there. And so the idea behind it is to use both these applications as tools to basically onboard.
And I've seen that you're also having plans to build a lending platform. Is that right?
Yes, through XDEX. That is correct. So that's on the roadmap.
So it will be just one big ecosystem that we are building, like, you know, perps and lending protocol and launchpad.
Yes. Exactly. Why not? Why wait for everybody else? Why wait for everybody else to do it when we can do it?
Don't wait.
No, you know, it's like I'm happy with competition, but there's no sense in waiting around for somebody to wake up to the magnificent X1, right? So let's get going now. Let's get it built. Let's get it set up, and let's be the best, fastest blockchain out there. With the coolest ecosystem, with the coolest ecosystem. That's number one, right? It's like, you know, all these other chains launch and they don't really have anything. Well, we're launching with things, and we're launching with very cool things. So we're gonna keep it rolling.
I like your mindset.
Yeah.
You know, we need people with such energy, such willingness to work and create, and that's awesome. That's awesome. Thank you.
Glad to be here.
The number one Wenian execute. What's going on?
Let me clear my throat. Can you guys hear me?
Clear it again. Yeah, we got you.
All right, perfect. All right, so first question is my next one.
Got him.
I think I already heard him say 2 more weeks. Was that the answer?
It's always 2 weeks, man.
Okay, second question. Are we gonna need 52 weeks to shake out the weekends? That turned into 174 weeks.
Is this a Richard Hart? Is this a Richard Hart question? I'm just trying to.
I mean, it's what he responded. He said 52 weeks to shake out the week's hands. That turned into 4 years.
3 more games.
So, wondering Jack's thoughts. Do we need time to shake out the weekends? Do we have weekends?
We don't have any weekends. They're, you know, you cannot be weak and be in Zen ecosystem.
True that.
You know, they got shaken out day one.
Yeah.
Oh shit!
There we go.
It's true though. Fuck.
So true.
Those are facts. Yeah, those are the facts.
Is Levin's law still like? It's still like it's a law, right? It's not.
It's not a.
Like gravity.
What's that called? I was gonna say principle. It's a.
Well, there's no gravity in here. We're floating.
Gravity's a law.
Guys, I'm gonna get a power supply. I'll be back.
Gravity's a law.
All right, so Simple Waters. X1 goes live in 30 minutes. What are you doing? What's your first transaction? What are you doing?
X1 goes live in the next 30 minutes. Is that's what we're playing here? What am I doing? I'm probably putting some art on chain. Might be probably getting Zen artist, using some of the protocols he's building to put some stuff. I'd probably get some Soul Zen, play around with that, because you know there is no second best, but that might be second best. But that's Frog Natural advice. I'm also probably going to be doing something with my Zenium. You know, I know Jason's been working on getting that XEN available for on XDEX and farming and things like that. So I'll probably mix and match in all of those different fields. How about yourself?
I mean, I'll probably have to full port my position from some other ecosystem into that one.
Now, would that ecosystem be the Hex Pulse chain ecosystem?
No. I'm into financial domination now, so I can't leave Pulse chain. I like getting fucked once a week when my portfolio loses a whole digit.
Well, you're definitely getting fucked more than once a week because you're holding spaces daily. I've seen them. So, and I'm just, you know, I'm curious. So you're gonna full port another ecosystem, but it's not Pulse or anything. We're not going to get into which ecosystem. So you're going to full port, and then what? And then?
And then I don't know yet. Probably make a meme coin and do some LP stuff
on XDEX though, right?
I don't know any decks, so whatever one that works, hopefully I can connect and it's not gonna rug me.
Well,
actually, you know what? Hopefully it does rug me. Hopefully it does.
Well, you like that, man. You got rug burns on the knees. But get familiar. The testnet is up though for XDEX. So go peek that if you haven't. And there's people farming and doing some different things over there for sure.
Nice.
But Matt,
is that the pump fun of X1?
Yeah, it's actually the pump fun killer, is from what I've heard.
DGen is the token launcher.
Okay, it's just called DGen token launcher.
I think this is my last one with the bong.
Yeah, DGen FYI. I mean FYI. Yeah.
I still haven't won a fucking game yet.
All right.
I made it to the
maybe
last boss several times.
Matt,
never beat him.
I see that you are an artist. I tend to be with the weirdos and the artists and stuff like that. Do you are you launched on? Do you have any stuff on any chains, or what's happening with you?
Yeah, I've been in a theory, like just kind of like an ETH maxi for years now, like since early days, and then launched an NFT project probably about 4 months ago, and we're close to 50% minted out of the 8,008. So we're doing really well. We have like a really cool community. It's a photo I took of Kanye West, now known as Ye, and then I drew pixel art for like 3 years, and I made basically, it's kind of like the death of celebrity pop culture mixed with brainwash and stuff we see as like in our childhoods and stuff. And yeah, it's kind of like my take on, me solidifying myself as kind of like the new Andy Warhol of Web3 kind of vibe.
That's cool.
So that's what I've been working on.
That's cool. Yeah. My ex Pee Wee hockey coach spent I think it was 3 weeks in a New York hotel with a Amiga computer doing artwork with Andy. Anyways, Matt, you should definitely think about putting some of your stuff on X1. We'll talk about it in the back channels. But
no, I like that's what's making me super interested into this, because I'm an IRL artist, so I sell and make a lot of art. So I haven't really found the like, obviously, like I love ETH and stuff, but I've been looking for new chains as well too, especially since everyone's really into Solana, and that's where all the money kind of moves and the speed of it and everything. And now that there's this community, I don't know, I hardly ever join new spaces, and this caught my eye, and it's really fucking sick, man. I like devs. Like, I'm a dev myself, so I just love people that are into computers and into tech, and what you guys are doing sounds really interesting. I don't quite fully understand it, but I'm going to do a full deep dive today, so I'm really excited about all this. It's fucking sick.
So Matt, you go to faircrypto.org. You can see all the white papers there, so you get caught up to speed, and there's a bunch of telegrams you can join as well.
Yeah, and don't hesitate to DM me directly, like either here on X, or you can do it through a group. I'd love to, answer your questions or anything about the X1 blockchain and why we think it's going to be awesome.
And it's faircrypto.com?
.org.
Oh, motherfucker.
.org, okay. I'm on it right now.
That was the last round. I think I have 2 points left. Unless I just reset.
Execute. And then RLC, we're trying to connect you. I don't know what's cooking, but hopefully you're coming in too.
I'm finally connected, thank you.
What's the bonding curve for the ticker?
Which one?
Or for like just on the DGen protocol. Like, how much does it cost to make a shitcoin?
That would be a question for Jason.
So it's just like it's modeled after pump.fun.
So $90,000?
No. So on Solana side, on Solana, you mean for it to graduate? 85 Sol is currently where it's at, and then a lot less than that on X1.
A lot less than that on X1?
Yeah. So it'll be probably, it just really depends, but it'll probably graduate at around 8,500 XMT.
And how
So
much
in terms of USD value, right? So we don't know
All
what
right,
that's going
last
to be exactly
spin.
yet, but that's kind of the idea.
80.
85 Sol on Solana and 8,500 on X1.
And day one is supposed to be $1 a coin.
That's what we will be introducing it to Solana as. It doesn't actually mean that it will stay at $1. It could be larger. Are you familiar with Uniswap V3 and how you can set single side liquidity?
Yep.
Yeah. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna use Meteora liquidity pool, where we set. We use this thing. We're gonna be using this thing called Alpha Vault. So what you do is you deposit. Let's say that you deposit 50 million XNT, which is like roughly 5%, into the Meteora Alpha Vault.
All right.
You then
well, that was
set
fun. Let's see if we
the
got a million
sale amount at
whatever it
$1
was.
to a range of $2. So that's basically like a liquidity, single side liquidity. So what people can do then, there's this period, and that's, by the way, Alpha Vault is the token launcher on Meteora, not the meme coin necessarily, but like that's how you can launch tokens.
Wait, I wanted to see.
So what people can do,
the
they can
boost.
deposit their Sol or USDC into this protocol.
Boom. So it just
and the
reset at
price
8
will move
o'clock.
between
It's now
$1 and
exactly 8
$2.
o'clock, and I have 100
If
out
the
of 100
demand is
energy.
higher and the price moves above
So I could
$2,
continue to play, and I also have a million points.
the amount
And now
that
I can
people
do all like
deposit
the
will be
daily login
refunded
and stuff. So
proportionally.
I'll just do these real
So
quick.
in other words, it will not pump above $2. And that's
Damn,
only
so
for
I
the
don't know
initial
if I got the
release.
million. Hopefully it claimed it
And so
automatically.
what happens is that we're kind of like saying, if there is no demand,
Then you get the energy
then
for
it
the
will
extra
always be $1.
bonuses.
If there is too much demand, it cannot go above
So for
$2.
these ones, it's just for holding.
If the demand is kind of in the middle, the price will move to $1.50. Now, let's say that we hit the sweet spot and the price is $1.50. So 50 million tokens will be available to grab. That's
See how our ranking is.
$75 million, basically. Now
Number
people
19.
are holding the tokens. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to keep the pool open so that it can buy back at $1.
This says I have 630,000 though. I should have a million.
Like we will not just remove the pool; it will always be there. So there will
Should be in the top
money in the pool
5,
that will
top
just buy
10
back
maybe.
and keep it at $1, which is actually
That's pretty cool.
a good idea. It's
I'm gonna
kind of
try
like
to be in the top 100
price
for both of
stabilization
these.
fund, like so to speak. So if it pumps,
Seeker
it
season.
cannot pump above 2, but if it dumps, it can dump below 1. So you're kind of like between like.
So
this
I get
range.
$30
And
in
that's how we want
MATTLE
to introduce it to Solana.
for the
And then
trading,
afterwards,
and
of
then
course,
for
it's going to
the
be free floating. Like it will go
other
above
one,
$2
I would
if
get
there's demand.
$30 in USDC
but
and
not
$90 in
during the
MATTLE.
initial
I would take
just
that.
during the full
$150
setup.
in MATTLE and $30 USDC. They're pretty cool.
And that it can technically go below $1 if other people have allocation, right?
Yes, but majority of people's allocation will vest in a year.
Okay. Yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah, so it's fairly safe to
God, we
understand
got
that
so
there's this
many.
sort of like a limited way for the token to fall.
And you guys are allocating
so much
most
spam
of the
in the
LP
chat.
position in USDC or some type of stable and not SOL, right?
It will probably be USDC. Yeah.
Okay.
It just makes sense. It makes sense to do it. Yeah, and so that's
Awesome.
the plan, to do this sort of like not the
All right, guys. Well, I think we're gonna wrap it up.
Hyped launch, but something that's reasonable, something that's like where people cannot technically get completely wrecked if they buy it at the wrong price, right? So like day one.
So can you remind everyone what happens next? I mean, if there is the mainnet launch and after the DG and Solana, or the contrary, or what? Can you remind the steps?
Yeah. Let's go through the steps. So what will
After
happen
this,
first
we'll wrap it up.
is that our Solana Foundation director will launch a bootstrap node. So this node launches first, and it's not yet a blockchain, it's just a node that other nodes can connect into. The next thing, the number 2 thing, is that every validator will get a small airdrop. Why is it needed? Because we want the validators to be able to connect to the Bootstrap node so that the network can form. And this airdrop could be like 1 or 2 XNT. So once this happens, validators then connect to this Bootstrap node, and now we have a working blockchain. Now, what happens next is the validators will receive 10% of their total testnet incentives right away. So this 10% is going to be available on X1. And then the 90% will vest for 365 days while they stay on mainnet and validating the blocks. The way that we're setting up the tracking system is that if you're a validator on mainnet for 6 months and then you decide to disconnect, or you join in late within the same year, you get proportionally less unlocks than the person who stayed the validator for 12 months. So if you're validating for 6 months, you forfeit 50% of your reward for being on the testnet. There will be another program
I'll keep both of them going in that case.
to come and join the network, but that's the future allocation.
All right, yeah, we'll wrap it up there. So I got some good gaming in. Listen to the X1 blockchain space. Not too much else to talk about. I'm feeling pretty tired. About to go to bed a little early. Been a long Tuesday. But thank you guys for tuning in. Hope you have a good Tuesday evening. And as always, I hope you stay zen. Peace.